Now this is part two of the video series I'm making about the compound. So if anyone ever had to make any repairs or replace any parts, you would kind of know where to look for those items. The first part, or the first video I should say, started with the outside of the compound. This next series will be related to inside the house, and I'll start with the kitchen. Now the thing I want to point out in the kitchen first of all is that in this cupboard that you're about to see, way behind all these things that are stored there, there's a junction box where an outlet could be installed if you ever needed to plug anything into that area. And then I'm going to move over to the cabinets. And under the cabinets, I point out that there is some under cabinet lighting, which I installed some years back. And the wiring and the switch for those things is inside that little corner cubby that you see by my hand there. So if you ever had to replace any of that, that's where you would access that box. Now here's a filter that I installed for the coffee pot filler, and the wiring goes from behind the cabinet back up behind the dishwasher and into the corner cubby. This is the turn-off valve in case you would need to turn that off before you try to replace the filter. And as I said, that piping, that water pipe goes all the way behind and up into the corner cubby, and it terminates right here at this faucet, and we use that to fill the coffee pot. Now next I'll point out that there is a little remote switch here, and that's a wireless switch, controls the fountain in the backyard, and that fountain has to have water in it before you would turn it on. Inside this quarter cubby you can see various wiring that I have in there. And again, you can access that light switch, the wiring for the light switch for the underlight cabinets through there. Now this is over by the door leading to the backyard. This is where the old telephone jack used to be, and I capped it off because we no longer use a landline. So if you ever wanted to install a telephone jack for any reason, that would be the place to do it. Inside this credenza, you're going to find the router box and the Cox box, which controls the internet in the house. And if you ever lose internet signal, you may have to restart one or both of those boxes. Just unplug them, wait 30 seconds, and plug them back in. You can see that the wiring comes behind the printer there and through the back of that credenza and down along the wall. Now over in the other corner by the TV, you'll see a couple things. That box on your right is the original cable connection for the TV, which I don't use anymore. And those gold connectors are for the speakers in the wall, which we don't use anymore either. That cable you see right there, the black cable, is the direct cable that I ran to the TV from outside the house. And over to the left of that is the turn-off for the gas for the fireplace. Now in the coat closet, you'll see a motion-activated light right there. That needs to be charged occasionally, and the charger is over by the bar, and that'll work after it's charged up. In the dining room, there's nothing of any consequence that you need to be aware of specifically. Everything is pretty straightforward. Next, you'll see the thermostat for downstairs. It's a Nest thermostat, and it's easy to operate. The instruction manual will be in a box in the garage with all the other manuals for things inside the house. There's another box of manuals in the cupboard beside the refrigerator. In the family room, just the living room, one thing I want to point out is this corner right here. Sometimes when we have heavy rains, gets water coming under the baseboards. Just keep an eye on that. You'll have to keep that dry. And then over to the right of the sofa, you'll see the wireless box that controls all the pool equipment. I think you've all used that before, but basically, in order to access the various features, you just push that white button in the center, and when you do that, you will see the turn off and turn on components for the spa, the pool, the heater, and so forth. If that ever stopped working, you'd have to operate those things manually out by the pool pump. But as of now, it's working pretty well. I'm going to now move into the downstairs bathroom. There's just one thing I want to point out here. Behind this green plant, there's an outlet. It's a GFCI outlet, which is a safety feature of bathrooms. And if it ever, the breaker ever pops, you just have to push that red button in to reset it. And surprisingly, this breaker, this GFIC breaker, also controls the outlets in the backyard, the one by the outside of the patio door, and also the outlets out by the barbecue. So if any of those outlets or switches don't seem to be working, you're going to have to go back into that bathroom and reset that GFIC breaker. Pretty simple to do, and that usually fixes the problem. In the laundry room, just one thing to point out, there is an access panel in the ceiling over in the corner above the window, and that allows you to access the piping above, which connects the shower on the upstairs of the house. We've had leaks there before, and I put that panel in so that you could better access those piping parts there. Now we're moving upstairs now, and at the top of the stairs are a couple of really important things I want to point out to you in the ceiling. You're going to see two grids. The first one is the airflow grid for the whole house fan, and all that needs to be done with that is cleaned about once a year. Just take it down, there are 4 screws, and hose it off in the backyard, and that should be fine. Further down the hallway, you're going to see the grid for the filter for the air conditioning unit, and that needs to be changed out about every year, or maybe even more if it gets dirty. There are a couple of little clips that you open, and that little door just drops down. You can then access that um, filter for the air conditioning unit. There you also see the smoke detector and the carbon monoxide detector. And a little further down the wall, you're going to see a blank plate. Used to be a light switch there, which provided light to the attic space, but I took that out and used that power source to run the whole house fan. So that switch is obsolete now and doesn't serve any purpose. So we just covered it up. Now, as we move up, we see the access panel for the attic space. And up in that attic, there are two important things. There's the furnace that controls the heating for the whole house, and there's a whole house fan, which you all are pretty well of that for now. So if anything needs to be repaired or taken care of, you'd have to access that attic space there. Unfortunately, there's no ladder attached, so you have to use just a step ladder to get up there. Now, next we're going to move into Marissa's room. There's one important feature here that I want to make you aware of. Over on the left wall, there's an access panel that can be opened. It's right behind that brown table. And behind that access panel are all the pipes and valves for the shower in the upstairs bathroom. We've had some problems with that shower in the past, and so I put that access panel in so it's easy to get to that shower valve. We're in Tyler's room now, and there's really nothing here that I need to point out to you, so I'll move along. Down the hallway, you're going to see the thermostat for the upstairs control. And again, it's a Nest thermostat just like there was downstairs, and there is an instruction booklet. Moving into Evan's room, again, not too much here in terms of needs, special features or anything. I'll just point out that this is where all the kids have slept and all the grandkids have slept. And this is the remnants of the old lullaby crib that I took apart and put all the kids' names and birth years on there so that we'd always have a record of all the little babies who had slept in that particular crib in that room. We're in the primary bathroom now, and just want to point out one other access panel. Originally, when we bought the house, there was a tub in the corner over by the window, and we took that out and enlarged the shower. But behind that access door, which you'll be able to see right there, is the remnants of the drain and the hot and cold water lines that used to exist there for the tub. There it is right there. And I left it there in case anybody ever wanted to put a new tub in or have access to water and a drain for any other reason. So it's a pretty important feature. Now the last feature of this video is in the closet. I want to point out that all of our important documents are in those tubs, and they're all pretty well labeled, so if need be, you'd be able to find anything you need there in terms of house documents, personal documents, financial documents, etc. And there are also some important documents in the metal box on the bottom shelf of that particular closet. Okay, that does it for this video. Thanks for watching. And I have one more that I'm going to be doing, and that deals with important features of the garage for the compound.